We have a 1997 Chevrolet C1500 that we're going to change the fuel pump in today. Normally, before beginning the repair, we would bleed the pressure off the system. But because the check valve is leaking in the fuel pump, there is no residual pressure left in the system. If we needed to bleed the pressure off the system, we would use the pressure relief valve on our gauge. Be sure and capture any fuel into a safe container. You always want to disconnect the negative battery cable before doing any repairs. In order to do a proper fuel pump replacement, we need to clean the inside of the tank, and that will require the removal of the tank. Disconnect the fuel filler tube and vent tube. Disconnect the tank strap. In order to completely remove the front strap, you'll have to remove the bracket from the frame. Slightly lower the tank in order to gain access to the vent tube and the electrical connection. The fuel line fittings on this vehicle are a threaded fitting. It's always a good idea to spray some penetrating oil on the fitting before trying to remove it. It's best to use a line wrench when separating these fittings. As you can see, we've had one fitting twist off. This is not uncommon for the age and the condition of the vehicle. One of the more common shortcuts is to cut the fuel pump ground that is attached to the frame. The proper way is to remove the ground from the frame. With everything disconnected, we can now lower the tank and remove it from the vehicle. You always want to be sure and clean the outside of the tank before removing the module. This will reduce the risk of contaminants getting in the tank. It's a good idea to remove the shield and inspect the tank. Also clean out any debris that may be in the shield that could rub a hole in the tank. With the outside of the tank thoroughly cleaned, we're now ready to remove the hanger assembly. We'll turn the lock ring counterclockwise with our non-ferrous brass punch. We can now remove the hanger assembly. As you can see, this ring is distorted. It's always a good idea to replace the ring if it's damaged in any way. Remove the old vent pipe from the hanger assembly. At this point, we need to drain the remaining fuel into a safe container and then clean the inside of the tank. We want to be sure that the tank is as clean as possible to allow a clean environment for the fuel pump. With the inside of the tank thoroughly cleaned, we'll install the new Airtex hanger assembly. First, install the tank seal into its location in the top of the tank. Make sure when installing the new Airtex hanger assembly that you align the locating tabs on the flange with the indentions in the top of the tank. Install the locking ring using a non-ferrous brass punch, turning it clockwise. Reinstall the fuel filler vent tube. Before we install the tank, be sure and wire brush the frame and the bolt where the ground strap attaches. With the tank partially raised, we'll reconnect our ground strap to the frame. As you raise the tank into position, be sure and work the filler and vent hose over the frame. Reconnect the fuel lines, making sure to use a line wrench and a backup wrench to tighten the fittings. Reconnect the vent tube and electrical connection. With the tank fully raised into the vehicle, reattach the straps. Reconnect the filler and the vent. With the repair complete, we'll now reconnect the battery cable. Cycle the key 2 to 3 times in order to charge the system. Start the vehicle and monitor the pressure, making sure it's within vehicle manufacturer specifications. Now before we remove our pressure gauge, we'll shut the vehicle off and bleed the pressure using our pressure gauge, making sure to capture any fuel into a safe container.